Hey there, this is Dominic. In this video, we're going to go over some photo retouching. Now, I will go ahead and state for the record that I'm not exactly an expert at retouching photos, but I do a little bit, I dabble some. And anyway, my point is, I do enough to, at least make photos a little nicer than they were. And that's kind of one of my goals when we're doing these graphics for Instagram. And one of the problems and the reasons that we're trying to get some graphic design interns that can do this kind of stuff is because when you put a photo on Instagram, you don't want to like a washed out, nasty photo that like nobody wants to look at. You want something nice, something that pops, something that looks good. And I think part of the problem is that some of these photos are taken in not very good lighting conditions, or on a rainy day. Like sometimes you just can't control for environmental concerns and whatnot. So like this one, it's a lot of shadows going on. I'm going to try to see if I can brighten it up just a little bit. The majority of what I do with these photos is like add some brightness, so maybe play with the contrast. A lot of it is just basically adding these adjustment layers. I don't go too crazy on it. Um, Also, I might play around with some selective color layering, because like it looks like there's a little bit of magenta here on her face. Like I don't know what was reflecting around there that kind of made her face turn a little bit red or like pinkish. But we'll see if we can play with that a little bit and try to reduce it. Mostly, I mean, you could do some levels adjustments and maybe brighten it up this way, change our levels up a little bit, but I usually don't really play with these too much. I mean, that looks a little better, but it's like washed out, so you know that's kind of where it started. So I can brighten it up that way, but also I can achieve similar effects with using brightness contrast. Um, yeah, that brings out a lot of the background. There's way too many shadows. There's too much shadows in here, but yeah, it's kind of like being a little too bright. Try to throw a little contrast in, way too much, obviously, but so that's not too bad. Probably did, yeah. See, it was way too dark to be using it on Instagram. I might be able to get rid of this one. I kind of like it. I like what it does to the trees in the background there. If I really wanted to, I can get my brush tool and kind of brush away some of the effect on the faces. Kind of, it's a little bit too bright there, but otherwise it's not too bad. And so there's that. That's what it was. It's kind of standing out a little bit more. And I might also add a selective color layer at some point in here, maybe down. Oh, no, it's not what I wanted to do. Whatever, it should probably work regardless. Let's see if I can get some magenta out of there. Yeah, I could see it change it in her face a little bit. It's a little bit, not a lot. Anyway, but that's the point. We're just kind of go in here and play with this stuff a little bit. And see how actually sometimes you can get some effects by playing with these colors. This is modifying the blue jeans. It's not really changing much. I might be able to get some reds out, or yeah, pull the reds out a little bit. That's probably as much as I want to do. And then with this levels, I think maybe I can like kind of take some of the brightness out of this white area. Don't really, it's a little too much. And then maybe down here a little bit. It's a little bit crazy. That's about all I want to do on this, to be honest. So this one is pretty decent now. It's a little bit better than it was, I think. I mean, we started out with that, and now we got this. So basically brighten it up and maybe fix some of the colors. Also, another thing you might have to do is add some sharpening. There it is. So it brings out some of the details. That made a big change in that one. And then, you know, we have this other one over here that needs to be touched up a little bit. This one, it looks like it was an overcast day, like really cloudy. So I'm not sure what can be done with it, but, you know, maybe take a look at it, see what you can do. Go ahead and open it up in Photoshop. And probably just try to futz with the brightness a little bit. Yeah, there we go. Not too much contrast. And probably do some selective coloring and play around with those greens a little. Make it more or less green. Yellow out. Throw some yellow in. Oh, I like that. That's the kind of green I like. Cool. And then, I don't know, mess with the yellows. See if it modifies the sidewalk there and the stones. Yeah, that looks a little better. Ooh, make it too yellow. There we go. A little bit like that. Let's see. Just kind of compare it to what we had. A little brighter. I like it. So that's just a couple examples, maybe just touching some photos up. I've had some that were really just like super dark that were submitted, and it's like I can't use that, not in that way. I need it to be touched up. Like this image right here, you know, it's kind of washed out up here. It's not that, you know, needs to add some sharpening, I believe. Probably mess with the colors a little bit. It looks like the colors are a little off. But yeah, so if you just go in and kind of retouch these photos a little bit, make them look a little nicer. That's pretty much what we're doing here. That's it. Thanks.